Hello everyone and welcome to another Rise of Kingdoms video. This is Dragothian here, and today we're going to continue our rank and roll series and go towards the epic infantry setups. Now there's only two, however I will add a third one in who is very beneficial to infantry armies, both legendary and epic. So I will add a third honorable mention inside of here just to make sure that we have a nice well-rounded out guide. That being the case, purpose of this series is to make sure you understand the role of the commanders that you're trying to level up, and then also give you the order in which you should max them as you're leveling up your account. So with this type of setup, you should be able to know in process how to go ahead and get everything set up, rank everybody up, which order, so that you're maximizing your efficiency as you're growing your account. So with that being said, let's jump into it. Sun Tzu is our top one here. It's got the level 60 with the top rarity, all that good stuff. So we're going to just go top to bottom as we go through. Sun Tzu is one of, if not the best, epic commanders in the game, period, and this is why. So not only does he have an amazing area of effect skill damage, first skill, but he's got extra tankiness on his skills as well. He's got an active skill damage boost on his fourth skill. He does rage regeneration with his first skill too. He really truly does it all. I still use him not only on the battlefield, but as my garrison as a T5 player in the end game. So this guy does it all. He stands the test of time. If you go look at his first skill, it does an area of effect of 800 instant damage and an additional 200 damage factor on the back end. In addition, every single target that he hits with that skill generates 50 rage. So you can have a maximum of 5 targets on Scipio's first skill, which means you could possibly generate 250 rage from one skill. That's a quarter of a bar, guys, because his rage requirement is 1,000. So with that being said, you can literally start chain gunning skills nonstop, back to back to back to back, if you're hitting a large number of targets. Now, obviously, if you're hitting a large number of targets, you're either getting very lucky and hitting somebody from the side and not taking a whole lot of damage, or more than likely, people are going to see a Sun Tzu on the map and try and target it immediately because he pumps out so much damage. And while he is a great commander, he is still just epic. So people tend to go and focus on that because it's purple instead of gold. So that's just kind of some real world situation stuff there. But he also, again, has a troop damage reduction by 10%. That means all troop damage incoming to any army that has Sun Tzu in it gets a 10% damage reduction on you, which means you take less damage from all troop damage hitting you. That's always good, especially in a garrison situation where those rallies tend to be a little bit more on the heavy side with the troop damage that you're getting, not just the skill damage. So that's very, very helpful in those rally situations. And then again, when you pair him with another skill damage commander, which Sun Tzu has the skilled talent path, which is a good thing for what he's trying to do, he does have a 20% active skill damage bonus, meaning if you pair him up with a YSG, that skill damage is enhanced by 20%. If you pair him up with a Guan Yu, skill damage is enhanced by 20%. It doesn't matter if he's primary or secondary, that other commander that you pair him with will get that bonus. So you definitely want to use him in combination for a lot of things. Role-wise, he is a great open field commander because of the damage he puts out. He does have some extra tankiness with his skills, and then also having the infantry talent path gives you some extra tankiness and counterattack damage as well. So he does really well there. He also does really, really well as a garrison commander. He has the garrison talent path. You can use him for that purpose. And again, in the end game, I still use Sun Tzu as my main primary garrison commander. So you can use this guy from start to finish. Once you get him, once you unlock him, level him up immediately. He's going to be one of your primary commanders for the majority of the game. You want to use this guy early and often. He's one that you want to max very, very quickly because he does so many things very, very well. And again, still used today by end game folks who have T5 and all that good stuff. So very, very good commander. Definitely recommend him 100%. All right, now let's jump to the second infantry epic commander. That's Eulji Mundiak. He does a little bit different. Okay, so we just talked about Sun Tzu where he does all these things really, really well. He's got AoE damage. He's got extra enhancements for skill damage. He's got tankiness. He's got all this stuff, right? Eulji's a little different. He's a hybrid. He does not have the skill damage talent path. However, his primary skill is skill damage. So he's got the attack talent path along with the infantry and garrison talent paths, meaning he's got an active skill damage that you can't enhance with any of his talents. And then he's got another skill that enhances troop damage by 100% on the following turn, and that's a 10% chance type item. So he's kind of a hybrid. He does some skill damage. He does have really, really good troop damage occasionally. And then he's got enhancements to his actual attack and defense for infantry only. So you need to make sure that he's fully infantry based. So any group that OLG is in, you want to make sure that he has 100% infantry in his army so you can take maximum effect of his third skill. And then again, that expertise that he has basically enhances that third skill I just talked about. And he does have a 5% defense buff for garrison as well. So he can be used for defense or for garrisoning structures or cities, but again, not really the best at it. He doesn't have a whole lot of enhancements that really help affect that, except for his fourth skill having 100% troop damage on the next turn. Rallies and garrisons tend to have higher damage when it comes to garrisons and the actual rallies incoming to that structure because they have so many troops in them. The numbers are just higher. So that 100% on the next turn does really help, especially early game when you're in the early game of a kingdom, say kingdom 600, 700s, are going to have some benefit to OLG because these types of damages do work really well in those types of situations, unless you have heavy spenders in your kingdom, in which case they're going to have maximum T5 tech and all that good stuff, and it's going to be kind of a moot point. But with OLG, he does do a lot of things kind of well, but not one particular thing really, really well to the point where you want to use him all the time. And again, pairings for him are going to be, because of how I just described him, they're going to be kind of secondary, tertiary type of commanders, like a Scipio, like a like a Ethelfled or a Barca, or some kind of buffer, debuffer. A Julius Caesar would work here if you wanted to. Commanders that aren't necessarily the greatest commanders. Ethelfled's really turning into one of the better commanders based on how you use her. But all the other commanders that I ever pair OLG with tend to be those kind of commanders that are good support commanders for a generic commander, not necessarily enhancing any one thing. So debuffing targets and buffing area of effect buffs like a Constantine would work really well here. That's kind of the thought process behind it, because OLG just doesn't do any one thing really, really well. His first skill does do a defense reduction, which is a debuff in and of itself. And again, the direct damage factor is not terrible at 750, but if you think about it, even your most basic legendary commanders tend to have a 1400 direct damage factor, which is literally just almost double that one attack from OLG. So there's not really something that he does overly well, like a Sun Tzu, where I told you he's got so many things going for him. Even if you had maybe pulled some things from Sun Tzu and gave him to OLG, that might have evened out these two commanders a little more. But Sun Tzu is just, and I'm kind of giving away the ranker portion of it, head and shoulders above OLG. And let's go to the third one. Again, he's not an infantry commander, but he does pair really well with infantry, and that's Scipio. All of his skills lend very well to infantry on the open field. Damage taken reduction and counterattack damage bonuses from his first skill, Military Life. His second skill does have a 15% chance after expertise to going up to 100% troop attack for the next 2 seconds, and a heal if he's just under half health as well. He does also have the always looked for troop capacity bonus that will give your troop capacity for your army an enhancement and make it bigger. More troops equals more damage, equals staying out on the battlefield longer. That's always a good thing. So all these things pairing up with an infantry style commander, for instance, pairing him up with the Sun Tzu we just talked about, works out really, really well. Also, you could pair him with OLG. You could pair him with Constantine. You can pair him with Charles. You can pair him with Richard if you want to. He can just pair with everybody as a second in the end game, and you'll be perfectly fine. It won't necessarily be the best army, but it will work, and it will work to very, very good effect on the battlefield. Now, as a primary, Scipio can be used as an infantry-style commander early game on a kingdom. So again, we're talking about the late 500s, 600 and 700s kingdoms. because they're so early in the game, most people are not going to have one troop type armies. There's not going to be a whole lot of those out there. Scipio is a fantastic primary commander early in a kingdom because he does all these things that I just talked about, and when it's early in the game and you don't have one troop style armies, he's super tanky, and he does a lot of counterattack damage to the point where a lot of people will avoid a Scipio-led army early in a kingdom and go after those Boudikas and Jones and Lohars, those style commanders, because they're not as tanky. They don't put out as much damage, raw damage, as a Scipio does. So you're going to see a lot of Scipios running around trying to get hit and not necessarily getting hit. Now that all goes out the window if you have a heavy spending kingdom. Those T5s are going to come through and just kind of mow through everything. But until that happens, or if that's not happening on your kingdom, Scipio is a great primary. You can pair him up with another leadership style commander like an Osman, or again, if you have Julius, you can do that. Anything that's got the extra troop capacity as well, and you can have kind of a punching bag style open field army that can last a long time and do some decent damage. So that's how I'd recommend using him. And again, pairings wise, we just talked about it. He's great as a second to Charles, as a second to any style infantry commander or any other group that you want to add some extra tankiness, heal, a little bit of extra damage with the counterattack damage bonus, and then troop capacity. This guy will help. So again, I wanted to put him as a third. Now, let's jump over to the rankings. And again, I've pretty much given it away just because of how I've talked about these guys, and also because there's only 2 epic infantry commanders, but I wanted you guys to have this. First, always, of course, this is one of the best in the game, let alone epic infantry. So we're going to go with Sun Tzu first. Number 1, he does so many things really well. He enhances damage. He does damage. He generates rage. He has defense reductions or damage reductions coming into his army. He's got so many things going for him. He's a great garrison commander. Again, still used to this day, a year and a half into the game, by end game players, guys. So this is a guy that's going to keep around for a while. You want to max him out first, especially if you're going to try and have an infantry style army. This is your guy. You want to have him maxed out. Now, secondly, we're going to go with Eulji because, again, there's no other choice. We have to have infantry commanders be the primary portion of this guide. So Eulji is going to be the second. Again, I like Eulji. He just doesn't do any one thing really, really well. He does a lot of things kind of well, And again, I don't think anybody quite understands what he's supposed to be. He can be a troop damage type dealer, or he can be a little bit of a nuker. He does a lot of things kind of well. And again, his pairings are reflective of that. You want debuffers, buffers, generic style commanders, because adding a specific buff style commander like a YSG, for instance. YSG's active skill is not really enhanced by Eulji because, again, his stuff is more troop based, but he does have that's the kind of thought process I have behind him. So make sure that you use Eulji in that way. Again, he's my second ranked infantry epic commander because that's the last one we have. And then finally, again, I do like Scipio in this situation. Again, I wanted to add him in because he does pair so well with infantry groups. And again, you can use him as an infantry style commander in the early kingdom stages as a primary if you need to, because he does do some decent counterattack damage, and you pair him up with another troop capacity leadership style commander, and he will do very, very well for you on the battlefield. So this is my ranking guide. This is the order in which you should rank, or order in which you should max out your infantry and infantry style commanders, and as you build your account, build your grow your city and grow your battle capability, that kind of thing. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope this was very helpful for you. We're going to continue this series as the weeks go on. I want to make sure that I get through this entire series as well. I'm also going to finish up the talent tree rankers or the talent tree breakdowns as well. And then finally, I'm also going to completely finish and update the Commander Mastery Series guides because, goodness, I need to get on top of that. So lots of stuff coming your way. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I will see y'all next time. Cheers and take care.